bake at 1,000 degrees for 15 to 20 minutes, throw it in a vise, and there you go. That'll get you 1/2 inch steel to bend like a wet noodle. Well, today I got to do some running around. Welding supplier gave me the wrong tips for my MIG gun. Partially my fault. I didn't go in with a part number. Anytime you want to go in and get something, you need to have a part number, because otherwise you get the wrong shit. So that's what I'm doing this morning. So let's go do some running around, and then we're going to get some concrete later in the day, and doing some steel embeds to transition from the steel brackets that are going to be mounted on the deck. So that's today. All right, let's go for a ride. Back from the store. So today I'm going to make more of these guys. Okay, hopefully you can see that. So I basically just did a layout here, divided this into, I'm going to have one of these every 120 degrees, here and here, and here, obviously, and that puts an equal space all the way around so that they're equally supported on the plate. I could have cut the plates round, but it's just easier to cut them square, and it saves on time. And then I have another 3/8 plate here with a ground clamp, so I could just put them on here, tack them up, weld them, and be done with it. So it just speeds up the process. When you do things like this, you don't have to stop and start again. Now that Trish helped me weld all these out, and Kalika, now it's time to get a couple of these cut for our braces. They're going to sit over the top of the concrete. So that last section, I was filming, I got weld spatter on one of my lenses, and I had to run out to get a new lens from the store, because when you're welding near glass, the weld spatter will tend to stick to glass, and it causes these little pock marks and just destroys glass. So you have to be really careful about that. I was using a wide angle lens and I got really close, and it was totally my fault. I know better than that. An easy fix for that is if you have if you're using a wide angle lens, it's the only lens you have, but you want to get closer to get a shot, you can use a UV filter on your lens, and it's going to destroy your UV filter, but at least you get the shot, and you could just replace the cheap UV filter instead of spending an extra $300 on a lens like I just had to do. So yeah, we got the concrete poured. This is what the idea is going to look like. I got that steel embed in the concrete The pipe's going to go on top of the steel, and then we're going to have another platform on top of that where the beam is going to sit. That's going to support the deck and distribute the weight down into the concrete. The reason I'm doing it like this instead of just doing wood from the ground up is because it should last 50 years. It's got a 50-year rating on the decking. If I use traditional wood with all the rain and everything like that we get in Washington, there's a chance that it's going to degrade, and then it's going to have to be rebuilt eventually. And yeah, I mean, maybe over 50 years, but at that point, I'll be way too old to go out there and rebuild the whole thing. So I'm just doing it now, getting it done so that it won't ever have to replace it. The thing should last over 100 years by the time it's all said and done. All the metal and everything's all coated and sealed. You shouldn't have any problems. Like and subscribe, stick around. It's going to get more interesting.